Alright, hey, what's up everybody? This is Agascles Stamus from Gearworks.com and the E2KG Network channel on YouTube, here with another episode of the Replication Anecdotes, this specifically being episode number 317. So, first of all, let me apologize if you do hear me breathing. This boom microphone on the headset that I'm using today, the Plantronics Rig Flex, sits right underneath my nose. Usually, most of my headsets have a swivel arm where I can put the thing up above my nose because my sinuses are so bad, so I do apologize for that. Also, I am playing with wheel and pedals today, the Thrustmaster Ferrari Italia 458, and so it's not like I'm lifting weights or running 3 miles or anything, but that is a pretty active controller to use. So, here we go. So this afternoon I am playing DiRT 3 on the PC. And we're going to race the Delic-Foda Off-Road Toyota Tacoma. This is a vehicle that I just unlocked, so I've never used it before. I have no idea how it drives. Now what I'm hoping that you have come here from having watched the preceding episode, and the first episode, the premiere episode of the Streamer's Cookbook, episode number 301. Now, that new series that I've started on Rounding Off Infinity is going to be where I actually put all the big technical, detailed discussion of the equipment that I use to render my live streams and game captures. If you have been watching videos, if you've ever watched a video on the Rounding Off Infinity channel, you'll know that that is a lot of the content that I cover. I go through lots of video game capture devices. Holy cow. Webcams, microphones, headsets, headphones, and several other pieces of equipment. We'll be continuing that trend. That's just my niche. I know it's not interesting to everyone, but I'm a hardware guy, and one of the main things that I like to do, which I spent a chunk of time doing today, is I think a lot of streamers and gamers default to using things like the onboard streaming applications on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and those are fine for getting by. But as this technology advances, there are lots of things you can do from a hardware perspective to just create better content, higher resolution visuals, higher bitrate videos. I feel like, there's plenty of streamers and stuff out there that focus on building the content that's about being cute and funny and controversial. My shtick has really been about trying to figure out how to use, as somebody who doesn't do this professionally and somebody who, I didn't go to film school or advertising school or whatever, learning as a layman. Wait, was that 6? Do I have to run this again? I do need to rerun this. So with each of these races, part of the problem is it's a little scary going out there at the speed when you don't know the track, so I find that I have to run them typically once or twice. I should say 2 or 3 times sometimes to get a decent time down. Fortunately today, I've nailed a good time the second time out. I don't know that that's going to be the case with this one. But anyway, that's predominantly what my channel is here to do, is to provide you some information on devices that are out there. This today really got started with me reading an article over at Games Radar about video game capture devices, and it was a good article, but it missed a lot of the newer model stuff that's out there, and a lot of the capabilities that are on the market now. Kind of, unfortunately, got, and I don't think it was intentional. I actually talked to the writer, who's the executive editor over at Games Radar, and I think he just, he put the article together with the information that he had. It's not, I spend a large chunk of my time, right, doing this stuff and researching it. So we got together and I pointed him at some other devices, and hopefully they'll be revising that article here soon. But we're still going to talk a little bit of hardware, but I would definitely say go. And that was the first video. There were some hiccups, a couple bandwidth problems, and me not knowing exactly how the Mixer Create app works, and exactly how the buttonology you have to go through to switch the camera around, and how the stream then looks like you're not streaming, even though you are still. It's not the most intuitive app in the world, but it was a decent first run. Fourth. I think I'm going to run it back until I get a podium time so that I don't have to kill myself and win the next one. Computer. Start a 30-minute timer. So let's go ahead and talk about the hardware that we are going to talk about. But like I said, I've probably said it 3 times because, like I said, I'm trying to focus on the game. Go watch the Streamer's Cookbook episode 301, and I'll continue to do those. Generally, I'll be doing those probably at the beginning of the week or end of the week, because usually what my shtick is on Sundays usually is what I call electronics turnover day. So that's when I swap out all my daily drivers for the week. I switch, what phone I'm using as my primary, what tablet, what PC, a few other pieces of gear, but I also change out my streaming kit. And I usually Wednesday through Saturday night, a little bit at a time, I generate the list of gear that I'm going to use for the following week, and then gradually start prepping that stuff. If I need to charge anything or find a piece or put cables in my ready box, whatever. Nope, you're losing it. Damn it. Also forgot where my e-brake was. Spent a chunk of time earlier playing in the park, which is the Gymkhana event, trying to defeat some of those challenges, and I made heavy use of the speed brake. Alright, I caught the car sliding that time. So, like I said, we're playing, alright, one more time. So, go watch the Streamer's Cookbook episode number 301. At the beginning or the start of the week, look for Streamer's Cookbook episode. Jeez. That's where I'm going to be putting the really deep technical conversation on the products that I'm using, the hardware. And here we'll just kind of run it down by name and cover it very lightly. So this afternoon, I'm playing DiRT 3, Complete Edition for PC. I'm playing on my secondary gaming PC. And honestly, I can't keep track if I've said this in this video or earlier, because I had to do a lot of calibration runs to get the audio mix down right. I'm playing on the secondary gaming PC. That is a machine that is powered by an Intel Core i3 processor. I think it's a 6920T. It might be a 6290. I think it might be a 6290. I installed a Corsair iQ today, because earlier today I was playing Titanfall 2 using my Corsair Void Pro wireless headset, and I wanted to install the application to control the lighting on that device. Really, because I was just playing single player and not streaming or anything. I just wanted it so I could turn the lights off to conserve battery life. So that time I kept my speed consistent going through that turn there instead of trying to push it until the back end of the car came out on me. It's not good. Not smart. I tried to cut that corner. Intel Core i3 6290, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1060, 6 gigabyte GPU. Cannot get past 4th. I wish this thing would take the best run that you made and not the last run that you made. So if it took the best run, I would try this one more time and be like, if I don't beat 4th, then I'll just take the 4th and move on. This PC also uses the operating system drive is a 4 terabyte 7200 RPM spinning drive. This case was kind of tight and had some limitations with how much equipment I could get in there. Even though the GPU that I'm using, it's a Zotac 1060 Mini, which is just an awesome card for managing space inside a case. This is a mid-tower ATX RAID Max case. But despite it being mid-tower, it had much less space in it than my NZXT case. And so I wound up only being able to really put the one hard drive in there. Oh no. Great. You might as well just start that over. No, don't restart via the service area. And for gaming peripheral today, I'm using my Thrustmaster Ferrari Italia 458 wheel and pedals. I have not had these out in a while, but in my new way of managing my game time, turns out that the algorithm I'm using to generate my playlist results in a lot of heavy emphasis on PC, which is good. I didn't do any PC gaming in the month of May. Hardly any. And I had not done a lot in June. So it's interesting that by changing those variables, it looks like I'm going to be getting a heavy amount of PC gaming in. I put about 4.5 hours in on Titanfall 2, which is very cool because that allowed me to use my Coolertron half mechanical half keyboard gaming keyboard. Come on, get out of there. Whew. Man, I almost hit the damn telephone pole. Can't cut that corner in this car. Bottoms out too easily. I did shave some time there. I'm going to keep plugging away at this. Unfortunately, that is my tendency, is to stick with something like this until I either get too tired. Pedals are slipping away from me a little bit. So now, to render the game capture today, for those of you who still refuse to go watch the Streamer's Cookbook episode 301, I'm using the Hauppauge HD PVR Rocket. I'm not certain how you pronounce their name. I should go watch a YouTube video of them like doing a commercial or something. Let's see how they pronounce it. It's a French company. Which is kind of weird, I just realized, because one of the other companies that is heavy into making game capture devices is also French, Avromedia. At least I believe they're French. Whoa, no, come on. Don't you dare. Restart that. No idea what that was. So like I said, I'm using the Hauppauge HD PVR Rocket. And for, not using a webcam today because I don't want to do any post-processing of videos this week. For voiceover commentary, I'm using the Plantronics Rig Flex. Yeah, this is because I've got the pedals too close to me now. So I'm going to have to make a arrangement adjustment here next time. They're actually so close that it's actually hurting my ankles. So I drive, if you've never watched one of my videos, particularly one of my driving videos or one of the Replication Anecdotes, nabbit. I'm just all sorts of losing it. I drive with both feet on the pedals, which a lot of Formula One drivers do, including a former Formula One driver, Michael Schumacher. My apologies for the tragedy that befell him. I believe he was in a snow climbing accident or something, skiing accident, biking accident maybe. Ugh, even worse. And I felt like the pedals were too far away from me. Okay, so seriously, if I get fourth again, then I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna keep pounding away at it. But yeah, so I'm using the Plantronics Rig Flex gaming headset to record the game over commentary. Now I'm routing that through my Behringer Xenix 302 USB hardware mixer, and I both have the in-game audio coming in that way, and that is how I'm sending my audio over to the HD PVR Rocket for the voiceover commentary. Now, I did about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calibration runs to get the audio mix down right this afternoon. The first 2, which really should have been 1, I had the 3.5mm input cable that was going from the hardware mixer over to the PVR Rocket unplugged. I had pulled it out because I was getting some crossover static in my headphones, which is a problem that I've been having with certain setups. It was not because of a bad ground on the PVR Rocket or any device that I had wired in series. It turns out that I was getting that static feedback because the HD PVR Rocket has a plus 20 dB boost mode for the microphone if your microphone audio is too low or you're using an unpowered microphone. And I had that on because every time I've used the Rocket before, I've needed to have it on. I think that's because when I have used the Rocket before, I was not going through the mixer. Well, the mixer has its own preamp, so I think the combination of me taking a mic output that was already being boosted and boosting it again was causing that feedback. So I had to play... No. So I had to play around with some cables today and troubleshoot that and hunt it down. Which was good, because there were a couple things that I learned during troubleshooting, which is why it always pays to troubleshoot and validate your setup. Now, with most people, you have one setup, so part of my problem is I change my setup every week in order to get that, lessons learned content out. So I did eventually track that down. However, like I said, it was good that I tracked it down. One of the things that I mentioned in the Streamer's Cookbook was that one of the advantages of the HD PVR Rocket, and one of the reasons I really like it, is because with its storage, its USB storage that it can record to, it is one of the few standalone recording devices that records to external storage that is compatible with the NTFS file format, which is the same format that your Windows PCs will use. Most standalone video game capture recording devices only support the exFAT or FAT32 file systems, and the problem is those file systems have a max file size of about 2 gigabytes, which constrains you to anywhere from 17 to maybe 22 minutes of video footage, all depending on the bit rate. And so, like I said, that first demo reel I recorded for about a half hour, 36 minutes. And when I went to review it, to check the audio mix, there were 2 files on there. And then I was like, why did it split it into 2 files? Isn't this an NTFS thumb drive? And it turns out that it wasn't. I thought I had... This is a 128 gigabyte SanDisk thumb drive that I'm recording to, and I actually took it out of the box where I usually keep all my thumb drives, and I store it with the Hauppauge, so I don't lose track of it whenever I'm ready to record. Horrible. I'm gonna have to keep running that. I said I'll give myself a couple opportunities now. I wonder, I mean, this is the fastest vehicle, I think, that I have access to for this event. It might be too fast for me. I wonder if I may go back and select a different vehicle and rerun these. Can't seem to get my eyes out ahead of the next curve and look up into it. A lot of these curves are occluded by the tree line and brush. Totally distracted by whatever that was that came up on the screen. 7th based off that split. I've got to figure something out. There is something stylistically that I am not getting down right, and I don't know what it is. I was going to say maybe I can afford to push it and overbrake into these turns, but this car has a ton of oversteer, and I've definitely pooched several turns. Come on, get it together. So fortunately, doing that troubleshooting as I was trying to prep to get settled for the game capture, and I don't know, I think, so I had some versions of my resume in the secure vault on that thumb drive. Now it comes out of the box formatted for FAT32, and I wonder if, too much, you're gonna be in the water. And I wonder if I was thinking about formatting it for NTFS, but wound up not doing that to keep my resumes on there. At any rate, I copied all that stuff off today, and did go ahead and reformat it for NTFS. Alright, so I think I'm going to make one more run, and then if that doesn't work, I think I am going to pop all the way out and try and rerun this event in a different vehicle. So those were the first 2 things I had to figure out, right, was the microphone being unplugged. Now, I then did 3 more demo reels after that, shorter, about 5 minutes apiece, and was still not getting any audio. Not getting my voiceover commentary, at any rate. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Well, it turns out that because I'm such a stickler for following studio procedure with my equipment, because in an earlier life I did completely nuke an XLR microphone because I hadn't read all the instructions, and I had been connecting the thing both to its pack-in power supply as well as USB, when they had said in the instructions that if you connect to a PC over USB, do not plug in the external power supply. And actually with that whole setup, now that applied to the hardware mixer, but I was just never able to convince myself that I hadn't also damaged the microphone that I had plugged into that hardware mixer, so it was one of my earlier studio kits that I just eventually got rid of, because I wasn't absolutely certain that I hadn't ruined it. So, one of the rules of my Behringer Xenix 302 hardware mixer is that if you're going to be plugging and unplugging equipment into it while it's powered up, they tell you to set all the volume dials down all the way. So that you don't blow anything out by suddenly plugging something in when the volume's all the way cranked up. So the volume that I had turned all the way down was the main mix volume, which is the output volume from the hardware mixer, and therefore the microphone, you know, the microphone splitter branch that I have coming off the Plantronics Rig Flex. So I was able to hear myself because my headphones were plugged into the mixer, but that audio was not actually getting over to the PVR Rocket. So I eventually came to that conclusion. Ran one more demo reel, and then away we went. Okay, so we're going to run this again with a different vehicle. So that's an 800 horsepower car. That's actually not... Well, it's 800 horsepower. Well, that's 800, 885. All these are four-wheel drive. So... Wait, are they all... Bladnabbit, are they all Toyota Tacomas? Maybe it's just a new livery that I got. Yeah, because this is the same livery that I had last time.
Last time out, you played it safe at the back of the pack. Feel for the edge of grit to extract the maximum potential of the car, and today will be a piece of cake.
I wasn't exactly the back of the pack, I was fourth. Come on. So Dirt 3 Complete Edition was originally a Games for Windows game. And thankfully, well, this isn't going to be any better. I thought I had other vehicles available, but one of those, they can't all be, they're not all Toyota Tacomas, because one of those things was heavier. So I'm going to do singular runs with this thing, and then go get in that heavier vehicle and see if that suits me better. Maybe I just can't handle a vehicle this light that's slipping around all over the place. I've gotten absolutely nothing done today but gaming. Good chance I'm going to be in loads of trouble tomorrow. Both at home and at work. So, this might be the last time you see me for a while, or hear me in a YouTube video. No, things shouldn't be that bad. I think I just have to decide to get over my own guilt today or tomorrow. And this may be that what I needed to do for this was, drive a little more aggressively. Yeah, so I did start over braking going into the turns and pushing it a little harder. It might just be the key. So maybe this won't be a complete goat rope. Ah, achievement unlocked. I don't know what that was about. I don't know what the achievement was for. But I really like the HD PVR Rocket. Once I've gotten around all the things I had to get around today, it really is I think a solid device. As I will always caution everyone, is when you go to Amazon, which is where a lot of people go to shop for stuff, and see negative reviews on hardware that's used for game streaming, that is unfortunately because a lot of people don't know what it is they're talking about. That's not their fault, and it's not intentional on their part, I don't believe. I just think these things aren't inexpensive, and there aren't a lot of people who've used more than one. There's not a lot of people who've used more than one extensively and tried it in a lot of different setups with different software, so I just think the knowledge base out there doesn't go that deep. So I know I saw one guy today who had reviewed this device actually and complained because he didn't get any video when he connected it to his PlayStation 4. And I'm like, and he was like, you know, I think he was saying, you know, when I have it, I don't know what he was saying, but he, you know, he mentioned that, you know, he had everything connected and he got video at one point and didn't, and I'm like, because you have your HDCP turned on, right? No video game capture device gets video out of a PlayStation 4 when HDCP is turned on. So, you know, I felt bad because the guy gave this product a bad review, and I'm like, so I don't know. I've seen several video cards out there that people have given bad reviews, and they wind up with like scores of like horrible 3.5, 3.6. So I'm gonna run that again since I got first on the first one. And they wind up with these mid-pack scores of like, you know, 3.5 to 3.8. I know even for me, I'm jaded when I buy off Amazon. I tend not to buy anything that's not a 4.0 or above. But like I said, I find, but this is a product category where I've, you know, used a lot of devices that are in that ratings band, that 3.5 to 3.8 ratings band, and they work. You know, just things you have to know. Now, that all being said, maybe there's a statement to be made about like instructions and manuals and support and FAQs that are on different sites and things like that, that, you know, should make these devices usable by people who have not reviewed dozens of them. Definitely something that could be said about that. But I would say, you know, if there's a device that has a review or that has an average rating in that band, you know, make sure you pull the thread on it and read some of the good reviews. Read the questions. See if a lot of those bad reviews are driven by people who, you know, there was a thing that they didn't understand. So I'm trying to eke a little more performance out of this dual pedal driving that I do. And really wail away on the brakes in these sections where I wind up driving off the road. Now my split time before showed me in third. Nice. I do love how a difference of a few minutes can take you from 6th to 1st. I mean, we'll look at first through 6 here, right? They're all clumped 144 to 147. Nice. Computer, how much time is left on the timer? Whew. So we're getting close to calling the game here. But yeah, Dirt 3 was originally a Games for Windows Live. So over the years, Codemasters? I think it's Codemasters has stripped all the Games for Windows Live stuff out of this. They had to do it twice. Even still, at least I've had one period of time, Garmin, where I had to go through a bunch of gymnastics in order to get this thing running on a Windows 10 PC.
Okay, you've qualified for the final. I know it's still early in the season, but you've already put us on the map in a big way.
What can I say? You're a rock star.
Yeah, but we're not jumping all the way to the final right now. Let's do the truck blast. Nice one single event. So I could be, I apologize that when I'm talking to my Amazon device, that I'm doing that on an open mic where I have a couple means of muting it. Computer, stop the timer. But my big fear is that because I had mic problems earlier today, I'm really reluctant to muck with it now that I got it working. So there's going to be at least one more episode of the Replication Anecdotes.
You didn't put a single dent in the car
Featuring
last
Dirt 3.
time. Now that's what I call clean driving. Keep it up.
And then after that, I am not certain where we'll be going after that. Well, I know what my next game is in the playlist after that, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll be going to it right away or if I'll be putting some more time in on Dirt 3. So it looks like my last time out in the Replication Anecdotes, I was playing Project Cars 2 on the PlayStation 4. A healthy number of racing games exist in my backlog, driving simulations. Of course, people will always argue with what is a driving sim versus a racing game. And insist that anything that isn't a racing game is therefore by definition arcadey. It's kind of a binary conversation that a lot of sim heads like to have. I don't necessarily agree with that. So like I said, this is Replication Anecdotes, episode number 317, where we'll definitely be in episode 318 before I make the jump. My next jump will be to dive a little deeper, I think arguably deeper, into the backlog, to play some Rome Total War over on the Uber PC. Rome Total War is one of those games that I really fell in love with, and kind of did some deep strategic dives in it, much like I did one summer with Galactic Civilizations 2, which I think is actually in heavy rotation for this 3-week gaming segment that I'm on. I gotta check that. Maybe it's not. Might be some other things. Maybe I came close to putting Galciv in there, but wound up not. Yeah, so this is a track in a mode where overbraking is not really feasible, or else you will wind up in the wall, as I just did there. It's me checking the rear view camera. So I've played a lot of games in the Dirt season, in the Dirt series. In fact, owned and loaded on various PCs. Right now I have Dirt Rally, which really gets back to the simulation roots of the Dirt series. Back when it was called Colin McRae. May he rest in peace. really love Dirt Rally. I'm a person I'm just not religiously slaved to one flavor of this series or not. It looks like they're going to maybe a TikTok release schedule where one version of the game is a hardcore sim and the other version of the game is kind of more like the Dirt series that were more about kind of like the X game kind of driving style. Now after Dirt Rally, you get Dirt 4, which is a more arcadey game and more about thrills and spills than simulation. I think the big problem for the consumer base is that it's just confusing to them. And so the sim heads who like Dirt Rally were just disappointed with Dirt 4. And I don't know what the right answer is for Codemasters. Again, I think this is a Codemasters game. Codemasters franchise is... I don't know if the right thing for them to do is to split it up and call it something different. Of course, I know they probably don't want to do that. And I don't know if it's one development team who does it. If it were two different development houses, maybe they could do it like, you know, the whole Activision Call of Duty thing, where you have Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch. And split year cycles. I don't know. But I don't typically get to dive as deeply into racing games as I would like in their first outing, which is why they tend to stick around in my backlog inventory for so long. But I do think it's notable and commendable, you know, when these games age well.
That was awesome.
So it would be very easy because
show that to the
racing
world.
simulations
Put
are one of
it
the
on
games
YouTube.
where the graphics technology and the physics technology tends to run at the fastest pace because they're so demanding.
I'm very impressed.
Indeed. You came, you saw, you whooped its ass.
Language. I just want to see what's up next. So yeah, so Rome Total War is one of those games that I really fell in love with. But just didn't get enough time to spend in it. I love like managing my family tree and marrying off sons and daughters. You know, naming them differently. So I'm looking forward to getting into that, particularly in this new approach I have with gaming, where I'm actually like maybe spending a little more time with singular titles instead of like hopping back and forth, you know, hour to hour. So, at any rate, once again, that's going to do it for this episode of the Replication Anecdotes, episode number 317. Please come back for episode number 318. And if you are really interested in the technology for live streaming and game captures, please go ahead and check out the Streamer's Cookbook, episode number 301. Once again, my name has been Agassically Stamus from GearWorks.com and the E2KG Network channel on YouTube. This has been an episode on the Rounding Off Infinity Gaming channel. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything that I'm not covering in those Streamer Cookbook series as I get them started. Again, it's just the first episode, but I think I'm starting to figure some things out about how to record those. Mixer notwithstanding, if I had been recording that standalone, then there wouldn't have been some of the problems that there were. Some of the problems were there because the Mixer Create app on Android is a little non-intuitive, but also just because it was live streamed. Those two pauses that you'll see in that video were actually not due to bandwidth, but were just due to the Mixer Create interface not being clear. So that's going to do it for me. I'm out. Thanks again for joining in. Please come back later. We'll keep the light on for you.